why is it that the Blessed Mother is always portrayed as wearing blue? Well, it's actually very interesting because Mary would not have worn blue at all, because blue didn't really exist for Mary. You see, the ancient Egyptians had the color blue. They had a way of creating what we today would call a bluish tint. But the Greeks, the Romans, the Hebrews, none of them had any means of creating a color blue. The best chance they had was finding something like sapphire, like a precious jewel. But for them, blue wasn't really a color. You might think, well, then what would they call the sky? Well, I don't know. But, depending on the number of crayons that you have in your coloring kit, you can get more subtle with different colors. We call the sky blue, but if we decided to make a light blue or a cyan and make that be a part of the primary colors, that's what we would call it. So whatever they called it, I'm not sure. Probably some degree of gray or purple or maybe even some reds. But blue wasn't really a color for the people in Jesus' day, so Mary wouldn't have worn blue. So why is she portrayed as wearing blue? Well, eventually when blue becomes discovered, that they are able to create it from taking materials and creating dyes and actually having the blue color, it was seen a lot like purple was. It was seen as an exotic color, an expensive color, a color kind of royalty, and more so with blue, a color of mystery, of transcendence, and something even heavenly. Because once they did discover the color blue, then you can see that the sky, the heavens, are blue. So it's very revered and very honored as a color throughout Christian history. And Mary began to be portrayed wearing blue, really, I think, in about the 5th century or so. It was rather early on in Christian art that she was portrayed that way. As I was doing a little bit of research to answer this question, I found it was interesting that only about 100, maybe 200 years ago, are the colors pink and blue associated with female and male. Because before that, blue was associated with women, and reds and pinks were seen as masculine colors. So, fun little fact there. In the Renaissance period, and in a symbolic way, red and blue, well, pink and blue, carried a certain meaning as well. So blue represented humanity, represented us, and pink represented divinity. So I have an icon here of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, and I'm going to hold it up for you to see. You can see that Jesus and Mary are both wearing the colors red and blue of some kind. It's more pinkish. But Mary's outer garment is blue, and her inner garment is pink or red. And Jesus' outer garment is red, and his inner garment is blue. This was done intentionally because pink represented divinity, blue represented humanity. So Mary is the human being who received divinity into her womb, in her innermost person. So the blue is on the outside, and the pink is on the inside, that she received the divinity there. Whereas Jesus is dressed in divinity because he is God, who took on humanity, who took on the bluish color for himself. So often they are portrayed as having these two colors because they both represent humanity and divinity. So you might see in Christian art two figures wearing blue and pink or red. They're typically Jesus and Mary, at least from that period of Renaissance painting and portrayal. And it's still used in icons because colors maintain their symbolic meaning a great deal in iconography. So that's why Mary wears blue, because it's a symbol of the heavens, it's a symbol of mystery, of transcendence for the one who received Christ into her womb in such a mysterious way. And so she is portrayed wearing that for most of Christian history. God bless. We'll see you next time.